He was like, we like some geniuses. You know what I'm saying? We some geniuses. Cause he was explaining like how he revolutionized that SP 404. He was like, we some geniuses. You know? We make shit out of nothing. You know, you know, we make a way out of no way. You know what I'm saying? He was like, that's what the African space program is about. We, you know, we make shit out of nothing. You know, the way look, the way I met Raj G, the way I met Raj G is, I seen him on the cover of a magazine. I was at a coffee shop and I seen him on the cover of a magazine. And I was like, man, this nigga look weird than a motherfucker, right? Read the article. And then, I was putting together a Twitter page for Compton's Righteous. I was putting together a Twitter page, right? And then I was following a bunch of people. I followed Fine Lotus, and then I was like, oh yeah, let me follow Raj G. I followed him, and then he just followed me back and was like, hey, is this really Compton's Righteous? Because, it was made a Compton's Righteous Twitter. He's like, is this really Compton? I was like, yeah, this is Compton's Righteous. Is this Jim C? Because, that was my rapper name, Jim C, right? This Jim C? I was like, yeah, man, it's Jim C. Oh, nigga, what the fuck? What the fuck? Are you serious? I was like, damn, man, you know who I am? Hell yeah, I know, man. I used to bump y'all shit, man, when it first came out. This, and that. And then, I had some Compton's Righteous shirts. So I was like, man, you know what? I got some Compton's Righteous shirts, man. I'm gonna bring you some. So I pulled up to his facility. He lived on Vernon, like right by Lamert Park. He lived on Vernon. I pulled up, and he had his lab and all the records and shit on the wall, and he had like his shit all set up, man. And I didn't know shit about him really, like. And he just explained to me like, yeah, man, I was fucking with y'all when y'all first came out. Now, on our first project that we released back in the days when we released the EP. And on that EP, we had a cut on there that was really like a instrumental cut, but it had it was an experimental cut that had like a lot of different kind of scratching on it, a lot of different sounds that wasn't like reoccurring. It was like an instrumental. I was talking on different tracks, shouting out niggas on one track, talking shit about niggas on another track. Everything was like subliminal. It was like some shit where you listen to it. If you high, you would hear some new shit every time you heard it. It was like a hell of a dope ass concept cut, right? It was a song called Ulysses, Compton's Righteous Ulysses. It might be on YouTube, Compton's Righteous Ulysses. And we named the cut Ulysses because we used to be Harry O nephew. Harry O nephew used to hang with us, and we used to be bagging on each other. We used to call him Ulysses, and we named that cut after him. It was some weird shit. But anyway, Ross G said after he heard that cut, that Ulysses cut, he was like, it made him realize that you could have a whole album of hip hop beats that was instrumental and it would be like entertaining. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, man, when I was in high school, man, I realized like, man, you could have all instrumental album and it'll be dope. I was like, wow, based off of our cut, huh? Damn. And I had told my man, the homie that made that beat, I was like, man, you could do a whole album of this shit right here and it'll be dope. Straight instrumental shit like this. But anyway, so I'm at Ross G crib. He got his lab set up and shit, and I'm in there and shit, and I'm BossMack now. And, he fucking with me because of Compton's Righteous. And, we in there vibing. And he telling me his life. He like, yeah, man, I'm in the world. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, what you mean by that? And he was like, yeah, man, I don't even have no car. You know what I'm saying? All I do is like make beats all day, and then when it's time to eat, I go get me some Ethiopian food. You know what I'm saying? Go to an Ethiopian spot. And I just be riding the bus. I like to ride the bus so I could be in the world. I be picking up vibes from the people on the bus. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, man, he the first person he the first person to smoke the backwood with me. We was just vibing. And then in his lab, as we in the lab, he just working, he just looked at me and he was like, and at the time I was still a substitute teacher, right? And he was looking at me. He was like, man, I told him, I was like, yeah, man, I'm a substitute teacher. I got the podcast and all this shit going. And I was like, man, I was just appreciating his lifestyle, right? I was like, man, I appreciate how you got the lab. I appreciate how you just pop out and go on tour and shit. Nigga just go on tour other countries and shit for a month, 2 months, come back, be working at the record shop. He worked at a record shop for fun and shit. You know what I'm saying? And just making just releasing projects, shit selling out, nigga showing me like, yeah, I'm about to release this cassette tape right here. This shit gonna be sold out. I'm gonna release 1,000 copies. This shit gonna be sold out, and then it's gonna be reselling on eBay and shit. And he just telling me all this shit. I'm like, damn, nigga just playing beats in there and shit, raw beats. We just high as fuck. I'm like, damn, man, your lifestyle is dope as fuck. And that nigga looked at me and was like, I'm doing all this shit because of y'all, bro. Like, because y'all inspired me, He was like, really, you supposed to be living like this? I was like, man, I feel you, my nigga. I'm like, damn, I feel you. He was like, really, you supposed to be living like this? He was like, we some he was like, we some how do you phrase that? He was like, we like some geniuses. You know what I'm saying? We some geniuses. Cause he was explaining like how he revolutionized that SP 404. He was like, we some geniuses. You know? We make shit out of nothing. You know, we you know, we make a way out of no way. You know what I'm saying? We he was like, that's what the African space program is about. We, you know, we make shit out of nothing. You know what I'm saying? You know, we just invent some shit. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, damn, man, man. It was a cool man. A lot of ways that dude affected my life like a motherfucker, man. Yeah. Yeah, that was my nigga. Hit the like button. Rest in peace, Raj G. I was just thinking about that nigga the other day. I was telling the bitch, I was like, man, that was my nigga, man. You talk about randomly, I don't know, it's like sometimes people come into your life. Sometimes people come into your life and they just like a total a total blessing to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like a motherfucker come into your life and they like a total blessing. Like a spiritual guru type of motherfucker. Like it was like it was like I just it was like that nigga was like a spiritual guru to me that was younger than me. That nigga was like a spiritual guru to me that was younger than me, that was inspired by me, that reminded me of who I was supposed to be. If that make any sense. That's a real shit. That's a real ass shit, man. Some real ass shit. Yeah, man. Nah, I didn't know mind design. All I knew was Raj G, and then he put me on to all of them. Mind design, Sam I Am. It was about Flying Lotus. It was a few niggas, you know. But I only knew him. I only knew him. I only knew him. And then it's a trip. A nigga die, and then like a few weeks later, I'm in like some part of L.A. Man. I think I was like in Koreatown or something like. I was in some part of L.A. and I hit a corner, and then Raj G was just big on the wall, like a big. It was just a big Raj G mural on the wall. I was like, damn. That shit wow right there. I was like, my nigga is on that my nigga is gone and he is on the wall. I'm like, wow. That shit is wow. Shout out Ross G. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, my nigga.